Welcome back to the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum. I am your host, James Magnum Cook, and it is good to be back. We have tried to do this podcast for over a week. We ran into some technical issues with the podcast equipment, the mobile equipment, which I was really surprised about. We couldn't figure out what was going on with it. We finally got that straightened out. And then I had a problem with not enough space on the card, apparently. And then so we pulled that, redid everything. So it's just been an interesting thing to get this episode on. So first and foremost, tonight's episode is dedicated to my friend who is very close to me, a really good friend, and almost like a brother, even though we don't get to see each other a lot. We used to work together in loss prevention before he became a police officer, and so tonight's show is dedicated to a listener and fan who a podcast in general, but also he listens to mine. So tonight's show is dedicated to Master Police Officer John Wallen. So John, if you're listening, this show is dedicated to you tonight. I appreciate your support, and it was nice to find out that you listened to the show. So tonight I'm going to talk about a couple of different things in relation to police officers and paranormal. So they can be researched easily on the internet. This was not something that I was given by any of my contacts or anything, or like the story out of Arizona by my friends there. So this is going to be more of stuff that we got from the internet itself. So it took a little time to find some of these stories and decide what I thought was like the most interesting ones, that you can actually pull up pretty easy and find out about yourself. But I had to think it through and decide what I thought was best. Also, not only with the dedication to John tonight, but also want to do a shout out to a couple different places that Heather and I both really, really like. Heather and I eat together sometimes at the Oriental Steakhouse down there on Chestnut Street. Very nice people, good food, very affordable. We really like it down there. We've also dashed together and picked up food there as well. But very nice place. Check it out. It's there near the Mellow Mushroom area, almost diagonal and a line across the street from them. So they're down there on Chestnut Street here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And then over on off on Scottsville Road. And I apologize if you hear the mouse because at this remote location, or the fan that's running, because I don't hear the fan. I do occasionally hear when we're pulling the mouse across the table, because we're not using a pad tonight. And then the fan is because we're in a remote location, and it's extremely hot here in Kentucky right now. I don't hear it. If you hear it, please let me know. I don't think it's being picked up on. We got it on low. If we were running air in here, we'd certainly have to turn it off anyway, because the air condition would certainly be hurt. Okay, so anyway, we got that out of the way. So the other place, which we really like a lot too, is over on Scottsville Road, over there near Griff's and everything, and Steak and Shake, and that would be Just Love Coffee. Very nice place as well. Great owners, great atmosphere. They've been featured in a few things, but we really like them too. And so these are the two places that I'm going to mention tonight as well. And of course, our ongoing unofficial sponsor, Monster Energy Zero Sugar, Ultra Zero Sugar, in the white can, my favorite. And of course, I said it's unofficial because they don't pay me to tell you that's what I drink when I'm on the show. I think I've mentioned it before. So anyway, let's get on with the show tonight. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, like, this is related to law enforcement and paranormal connection. So there's a story on the internet, and the person's uncle was a sheriff in a small town in New Mexico. How ironic. See, we talked about Arizona recently. Now here we are talking about something in New Mexico. And anyway, there was a local reporter by the name of Bob Diaz. I'm sure there's more information somewhere else. The page I have for my research. Apparently he was this has been some time back, because a lot of police don't like want you on this now, and things have changed a lot about carrying scanners. I used to carry a scanner actually when I was a security consultant down in Toccoa, Georgia. For the 5 years, I was the owner of the security consultant firm, and and all that stuff, and did security and investigations through the consultant firm that I had there, and also some of the bad adventures that I had during that time may be mentioned in whatever happens with film or the other book that's coming. But let's get on with this. So anyway, so apparently he was a person that went to a lot of the scenes that would show up. But like I say, he was a reporter. He carried scanner, apparently, or listened to the scanner. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard because I don't have a time frame of when this guy was doing this. But I do know that according to the story of what I could find out, he was pretty much a practical joker with the cops too. Sometimes he'd flick people's ears, and I think now you do that. I think a cop would probably throw you in the ground, even if you were like really good friends with him. But anyway, I think it's kind of funny. So this goes back to, I think obviously this story goes back some. So, but unfortunately, he had lung cancer and apparently died suddenly. And against his wishes, he wanted to be against his wishes, he wanted to be cremated, but his wife had buried him. So anyway, so this is where the story starts getting a little bizarre, from what I have read. And I apologize, I did hear the mouse. So I did hear the mouse until for the next couple of weeks after his funeral, people kept talking about seeing Bob at car wrecks, fires, the same stuff he used to report on. There was about 20 or 30 reports like this from civilians and members of the force. My uncle didn't buy it, and this is coming from the story that I've read. So he's talking about how his uncle was a police officer, didn't BS, and so anyway, that was up until one night. My aunt showed up at our house, gun drawn, pale as paper. That's what the story is on the internet, and we asked him what the hell happened. This is their words of what they, and this is a guy that I never saw rattled by anything. And anyway, apparently they were sitting on the couch watching TV. From the best this story is told here, I can tell, is he kept scratching his ear over and over. Finally, man, what the problem was, and he turned just in time to see the bedroom door open, and Bob D, this reporter, I don't know why they didn't put the last name in this story. Maybe there's something more to this that they didn't want that name. I mean, obviously, someone in that, if someone's still alive from that area or that era in New Mexico, I'm sure someone would know who this person was. I just find it interesting that they don't have the last name on it anymore. That unless there's a reason not to put it on there, it's not really that big a deal anymore. Most people with social media and everything else these days don't really care. So obviously this story goes back. But anyway, he apparently made contact with him. Bob smiled, walked across the living room, and right out the front door, closed the door behind himself. Which I found this fascinating part, because that goes along more with almost what would be more considered like a poltergeist thing, where you've got the ability to move stuff, not just ghosts. Because I guess for most of my paranormal investigators I've talked to, usually the ghosts don't move a lot of stuff unless there's reason, or now obviously he was upset about something because but most of the time, unless, like, I think if I remember correctly, like Miranda Young got one to do with the flashlight flickering, but that's kind of like asking and getting something to get a reply, not where they're actually physically making contact with an object and actually moving it through or closing it behind them. That's I find that part of the story to be a little fascinating, to be honest with you. Now remember, for anyone that doesn't know that, I don't know why, and my attorney is literally telling me, with all the stuff going on with my other stuff, that I literally need to start telling people that the show is strictly for entertainment purposes. And I don't think anyone doesn't know that. That this show is kind of fun for entertainment purposes. I'm not saying this is 100% real, 100% I don't do that. I just let you sit back, hear the stories, and let you make your judgments. But, okay, out to my attorney. Okay, yes, the show is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, there you go. I could have put that on the beginning or the end, but whatever. I'll just throw it in here while we're doing this. It just came to me because of this whole deal with not having the last name on here. I was going to have to do it anyway, by the way. So all this went on, and then apparently the guy's uncle ran out with his gun drawn, looking for Bob, but he was gone. At that point, they ran over to, I guess he's saying ran over to their place, went over there and didn't see anything. My aunt and uncle stayed at our place throughout the night. Now, this is apparently a law enforcement guy who, wasn't scared of anything, and from just judging from this story, this shook him, rattled him, like the person that's related here talking about the story, he wasn't someone that got rattled, and I've got a lot of people I know that it takes certain things to get you rattled once you've been in law enforcement for a while, and because you see a lot of crazy, even like stuff when I worked in security, we used to see some crazy stuff, or interactions with some law enforcement, different things in different places that I've worked, but most things, the actual officers see so much bad stuff that you don't know about, that to be rattled at something, it really takes something out of the norm to be rattled at this point, and that's what I'm getting at. One of the reasons that because I do have these connections to people who are in law enforcement, and sometimes I'm not going to tell you what we talk about, but sometimes we talk about a lot of different things that go on, both with me and sometimes, but it's private. We don't discuss this with other people. It's just not something we do, and that's all I'm going to say about that. A lot of that's also to do with friendship and loyalty. So anyway, apparently at work the next day, I'm reading this story. Apparently at work the next day, all the guys on the force were giving my uncle a lot of "we told you so." People around and that's funny. This is the part, but I could see that happening. People around town said they saw Bob show up at police scenes for at least 2 to 3 months. My dad saw him in our dark room in our basement with a friend. He was flickering their ears in the dark. During the 3-month period, during the 3rd month, people that saw him kept saying he was looking worse and worse. And my uncle saw him more times, each time confirming he was looking more and more worn. My dad concluded, and this is where the story that he was decomposing and his ghost was reflecting the process. Every time my ear itches, according to this story, the person that wrote the story said that they get goosebumps. I could see that. So anyway, that's an interesting short little story that I found on the internet about that was related to law enforcement and paranormal combination. And by the way, I hope my voice is coming across really good. I feel pretty good. I've been out in this heat quite a bit today. It's gotten fairly cool in here. Took a nice shower earlier outside in the outside shower that we have at this location, and that felt pretty good. Luckily, I'm completely remote here, and my nearest neighbor is about a 1/4 mile away where I used to live in the valley, so that's pretty good. And being on 30 acres and being far enough off the road, I don't really have any concerns there about that. But hey, it's I do have people that come in and out all the time, checking the security of the area, and my caretakers who hunt on the land. They're constantly up here in and out during the day, and sometimes it depends on. Sometimes when they're hunting, they'll actually stay in their little hunting cabin things that they built that are actually hunting blinds, but they built them like little log cabins in the air, which is kind of neat down in the lower part of the as we call it, the ranch here. They're kind of neat. I have some pictures somewhere on Facebook about that, but that's pretty neat. So I do have like ongoing in and out security, and of course I'm in and out all the time. So, but a lot of times when I travel, I have them watch it a lot more, or I'll put more stuff. I'll have people come by, or I'll have someone check the mail or stuff like that. So, you never know when we're coming or going, which I think our security is much better that way, because you don't really know when we're going to be here and when we're not going to be here. So that's really good security. I'm here a lot at night when I'm working in Bowling Green, of course. But when I'm not here, I have my security checking all the time, which is kind of funny that I have security now, and I've done security for so many years. I get that it's kind of weird, but it's kind of neat too. Anyway, next one I'm going to talk about, and this one is a little creepy in a way. I think, thinking of my police friend, especially my, close one, I would think that something like this would rattle you, shake you, and just throw. I mean, it would throw me off. I mean, I'd be honest. Even someone who has friends that are paranormal investigators, and that's part of my show thing that I wanted to start with. Even though we've added a lot of other stuff in with the show, including the travel and some of the restaurant reviews and stuff like that. I mean, but everything's kind of related to things I do anyway. So I mean, I guess in a way the show kind of revolved around me and all the different things that I like, including the supernatural. I've always had kind of a fascination with it. I just never really did a lot with it. But I did make some friends that are, obviously with an investigative background, making friends with paranormal investigators wasn't that hard. So anyway, this is the other story tonight I'm going to talk about. You're not going to believe this. So I don't know if you hear that. Literally, we're talking, and I'm about to talk about this story. Oh, God, I just got chills all over me, because I'm about to talk about this. We're talking about relation to law enforcement, and I literally just heard the siren outside and the car go by. Oh, wow. That had to be a police car, because that was not a fire. It sounded more, whew. And having a police car out here at this time of night, yeah, that can't be good, because it's like 10:22 p.m., and, that's not something I hear on a regular basis, and I just got shook, guys. I got cold chills all over me, because I'm getting ready to talk about this story, and that happened. Ooh, that's just weird. Okay, I will be honest. I got thrown. So anyway, whew, that's scary, actually. I heard children's voices in an empty house. So this guy worked as a police officer in a small town in rural Nebraska back in the 90s. He was patrolling through the town during the winter. They had several abandoned houses in the town, which I think Jay Farrell would love that. He'd be like taking pictures, and I don't know that he'd be going at night though. So anyway, because most of his pictures, I think you can tell most of them are in the daytime or like early evening. I'll have to ask him if he's ever done anything in the evening, of course. So they had, like I said, they said they had several abandoned houses in town, but one seemed to have the attraction of copper thieves, so we're told to keep an eye on it. So copper has always been a problem for a while. I don't think it's quite as relevant now. I'd have to check with some of my, but I think at one point it was very relevant, and the expense, because it was very expensive. Prices went through the roof, and a lot of people used it, to get quick drug money, stuff like that, or just money in general. And it was very lucrative for thieves to take. I mean, there's ones that have even taken stuff off of power lines and got themselves killed at one point. So I know that was a very lucrative for the criminal there at one time. And there were some others that got it legally as well. So but it's always anything legal that you can make money off of. I'm gonna tell you, it's just 100%. There's gonna be someone try to do something illegal instead of just trying to do it the right way. That's just reality of the world. So anyway, I guess they had a copper theft problem. Excuse me. And so he drove by. Okay, so it is at night. According to the story, he drove by at 7 p.m. It sat on a corner lot. I'm trying not to, because I am reading this from the net, and I'm trying to also put my spin on it and not, just like verbatim plagiarize, even though I'm not writing it. I'm just talking about it. I try to be respectful too, so some people can look these things up themselves as much as possible. Let's see here. I'm going to try to redo this just a little bit and not like mess the story up. So I had a clear view. So he said I had a clear view of all four sides of the house. He drove around the corner. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. About 2 hours later, I drive by again, and the back door is wide open. I knew the back door was not open when I drove by it earlier. So the officer is looking at the snow around the ground. There were no footprints, and so I think, what the hell? This is in quotations. He called dispatch, and he said, I'm investigating an open door at an address, and for the county sheriff to start my way. I walked to the door. I pull out my flashlight, shine it inside. The house has obviously been gutted for the most part. The plaster walls have been torn down. Debris piles everywhere. Since there were no footprints in the snow, are showing anything, I chalk it up that the wind maybe had just opened the door. Then I was about to leave the scene when I heard a loud thump come from upstairs. And it sounded like kids laughing. So I entered the house and yelled out, "Police department, come downstairs!" More of what sounds like little kids playing. I tell dispatch it sounds like kids are in the house, and start making my way through the kitchen into the living room where the stairs are. According to the story, all the while he was cautiously checking the main floor. He says 2 more times, I hear something upstairs, but since I have no response, I start thinking maybe it's an animal. Still, I hear, but I swear his kid's laughing. I head upstairs, and it all gets quiet. The upstairs has a relatively small hallway at the top of the stairs. There's one bedroom to the right, one straight ahead, one at the end of the hall, and a bedroom to the left. As he gets to the top of the stairs, I hear thump in the bedroom to the left. He carefully peeked around that door, and it's empty. That room is empty. Small pile of plaster wood debris in the middle. No kidding. Sitting on top of the debris was a page torn out of a child's book with a picture of a police officer on it. Ooh, that would make your hair stand up. As he said, the hair stood up on the back of his neck. I got out of the room quickly, cleared the other rooms, and got the, as he says, and F out of there. I won't say on my show unless I had already put on there that we were going to have explicit stuff, because I'm just reading this. So he told dispatch nobody was in the house, locked the door back, and never went back again. How weird is that? Could you imagine being a police officer, hearing children's voices, and then finding a page torn out with a police officer's picture in the middle of the floor? That sounds creepy. And out to my friend John. I'm sure you'll never deal with nothing that crazy up where you work at the university. But just in case you do, you got a friend here that'll listen. I'm just messing with you. You're a good guy. Anyway, I thought you would have some fun with this by listening to this, and I did. I almost wanted to do this other... You know what? I don't know. Maybe I should do this other one, because it kind of relates to me and you both. Even though I never worked security in a hospital. But this was a police officer who obviously was doing, off-duty security. And it's kind of funny. Apparently, I'm just going to give the brief. I'm not going to do the whole story. I might do the whole story on another one. But anyway, so a guy just mysteriously vanishes from his hospital bed, and there was nothing on camera, anything. Nobody could ever figure this out. And, there were 3 witnesses on the report, and they say he got up and left, and there was a serious call code, which that this guy was supposedly this guy was already deceased, and yet he just got up and vanished, and yet no one saw anything on camera. Now that's creepy, my friend. Anyway, have a good night, and please check out those places that we mentioned here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Again, the show is dedicated to my friend John Wallen, who does listen to the show. Thank a lot of you, my friend. Stay safe out there. It's getting more crazier every day, and you and I both know that it is not safe anymore. It's always been a problem, but it's certainly gotten a lot worse. But at the same time, I think you and I have seen a lot of support too from public in recent history, too. So there's some good and bad to everything, and it's all how you look at things and how you move forward with it. You can have the worst situations go down, and as long as you keep moving forward, everything's going to be fine sooner or later. Again, this is the 13th Destiny Podcast with Magnum. I'm your host, James Magnum Cook. Hope to have you back here again, and may everyone have a great rest of your week, or whenever you're listening to this, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you.